Welcome back to Mindcast with Dee, everyone. I'm Dee, and today we're diving into a fascinating topic. Your subconscious knows before you do. Have you ever had a strange feeling that something was about to happen, only to realize later that your gut was right? What if your brain notices clues long before your conscious mind catches up? Today we're exploring how your subconscious quietly works in the background every single day.
Hi, I'm Will, and I'm really excited to see what behind the scenes insights we'll uncover today. I love topics like this because we've all had those moments where something just felt off, but we couldn't explain why. I'm curious whether that's actually our brain working or just coincidence. I can't wait to find out.
That's exactly what we're unpacking today. When people hear the word subconscious, they often imagine something mysterious, but it's actually very practical. It's the part of your mind that quietly processes huge amounts of information without you actively thinking about it. It notices tiny patterns that your conscious mind simply doesn't have time to pay attention to.
So you're saying my brain could already know something before I actually realize it? That's honestly kind of amazing. It also explains why I've changed my mind about people without knowing exactly why. I've definitely experienced that.
Exactly. Imagine walking into a room and instantly feeling uncomfortable. You might not know why at first. Later, you realize someone was speaking in a tense voice, avoiding eye contact, or the atmosphere just felt different. Your subconscious picked up those little signals long before your conscious mind put the puzzle together.
That's such a relatable example. I remember meeting someone who seemed perfectly friendly, but something felt strange. Weeks later, I found out they weren't very trustworthy, and I kept thinking, how did I sense that? Maybe my brain noticed clues I wasn't aware of.
That's a great example. Our brains are incredible pattern detectors. They compare today's experiences with thousands of memories you've collected throughout your life. Most of that comparison happens automatically without you even noticing.
That makes me wonder, though, if our subconscious is so smart, why do we still make bad decisions? Sometimes my instincts are right, but other times they're completely wrong.
Great question. That's where our first psychological term comes in: confirmation bias. It simply means we naturally pay more attention to information that supports what we already believe while ignoring information that doesn't fit. It's like your brain wearing invisible glasses that only notice certain things.
Oh, wow, I've definitely done that. If I already think someone doesn't like me, suddenly every little thing they do seems to prove it. But maybe I'm completely missing the moments when they're actually being kind.
Exactly. That's why instincts are valuable, but they should also be questioned sometimes. Another helpful term is cognitive bias. This is simply a shortcut your brain uses to make quick decisions. Shortcuts save time, but just like taking the quickest road, they don't always lead to the best destination.
I like that comparison because it makes it easy to picture. So our brain is trying to help us by moving quickly, but speed can sometimes create mistakes. That actually sounds pretty human.
It really is. Let's look at another everyday situation. Imagine you're interviewing for a new job. Everything looks perfect on paper, but something feels wrong during the interview. Maybe the manager keeps interrupting people or employees seem unusually quiet. Your subconscious may notice those details before you consciously recognize them.
I've heard people say they ignored those feelings because the salary looked great. Then a few months later, they regretted taking the job. That suddenly makes a lot more sense.
Here's another useful psychological term: emotional reasoning. This happens when we believe something is true simply because we feel it strongly. For example, if I feel like I'm going to fail, I might assume failure is guaranteed, even when there's no real evidence.
That's surprisingly common. Before giving a presentation, I sometimes feel terrified, and my brain instantly tells me I'll embarrass myself. Most of the time, everything turns out just fine.
Exactly. Feelings are important, but they aren't always facts. Here's our fourth term: pattern recognition. This is your brain's ability to connect tiny pieces of information and notice repeated signals. It's one of the biggest reasons your subconscious often seems to know something early.
That actually sounds less mysterious and more scientific. Instead of magic, it's really our brain quietly collecting clues in the background. I think that's even more fascinating.
I agree. Now let's make this practical with 5 simple tips anyone can use. First, when you get a strong gut feeling, pause and ask yourself what specific clues might have created it. Second, write down important decisions and revisit them later to see whether your instincts were accurate. Third, challenge your first assumption by looking for evidence that disagrees with it.
I love those because they're practical instead of complicated. It turns intuition into something you can actually learn from. And checking yourself probably helps avoid jumping to conclusions.
Absolutely. Fourth, spend a few quiet minutes every day without constant distractions, because your brain often connects ideas during calm moments. Fifth, pay attention to repeating patterns in your relationships, work, and daily habits instead of focusing on one isolated event. Over time, those patterns tell a much clearer story.
Those tips feel realistic enough to start today. I especially like looking for patterns because one bad day doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. But if the same thing keeps happening, that's worth noticing.
Now, here's something that's become really popular online. Social media is full of people saying, always trust your gut, while others argue that feelings can't be trusted at all. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Your subconscious can notice important information, but it's strongest when paired with careful thinking and real evidence.
I think that's a healthier message. Sometimes people either ignore every instinct or treat every feeling like an absolute truth. Balance seems much more realistic.
Exactly. Think of your subconscious as an early warning system, not a final judge. It points your attention toward something, but your conscious mind should investigate before making a big decision. That's where wisdom grows.
I really like that analogy. It's almost like getting a notification on your phone. The notification tells you to look, but you still have to open the app and see what's actually there.
Before we wrap up, we'd love to hear from everyone watching. Have you ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be completely right or completely wrong? Share your story in the comments because real experiences make conversations like this even more interesting.
I'm definitely going to read those comments. I have a feeling people will have some incredible stories. And I'm curious to see how many people realized afterward that their subconscious had been picking up clues all along.
Let's quickly recap today's conversation. Your subconscious constantly notices information that your conscious mind may overlook. It uses pattern recognition to connect experiences, but biases and emotions can sometimes lead it in the wrong direction. The goal isn't to blindly trust every feeling, it's to combine intuition with thoughtful reflection and evidence.
That's probably my biggest takeaway. Listen to your instincts, stay curious, and then check the facts before making important decisions. I think that's advice almost everyone can benefit from.
And that's the perfect place to end today's episode. We hope this conversation helps you better understand what's happening behind the scenes in your own mind and gives you practical ways to make wiser decisions. Thanks for spending this time with us. Catch you in the next one.